Every year in the NFL, it's a new team. As far as goals go, we have one. Putting a f***ing ring on our finger.
Welcome to the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. This is Ralph Phillips.
I'm Molly Bay.
Today is October 7th, 2020. Still feeling good after the win. How about you?
I am a little nervous about playing so soon. I don't like I like having a week to savor the win.
That's a good point. Well, it was a really good win. Bucs Nation is really happy about this, and we only get, 2-3 days to celebrate?
I know.
But you know what? Here's what's going to happen. We're going to have more days to celebrate after we whoop up on the Bears.
That's true. Silver lining.
The 2 scoops.
Glass half full.
That's right. Okay, we got a big program for you tonight. We are going to talk about the game. We haven't talked about the game.
I
the
know,
Chargers
at
game.
all.
That's what we were missing. We were talking about before the podcast. We were like, okay, what do we got to cover? We got to cover the game film and the Chicago game. And there's something else. We couldn't remember what it was. And we got to talk about the game.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to cover the game, give you our thoughts on it, and then I'm going to go over the game film. And then we're going to talk about the poor Chicago Bears who are getting ready to get whooped up on. I feel no pity for them. No pity.
No, me neither.
All right. So, we got any fact checks or follow-ups?
No.
Do you have any notes on anything?
Yeah, I have a ton of notes.
Okay. Yeah, we got news too, so.
Do you have news?
Stick around for that. What do you want to cover first?
Let's talk about the Chargers game.
Okay. Let's talk about Chargers game. We can talk about that forever as far as I'm concerned. It was a great game. Except, here's the thing. It went exactly how we said it was going to go, except the exact opposite.
What?
Remember? I said we were going to get up on the Chargers, and then we were going to take the foot off the gas, and they were going to struggle back, and they'd get within one score of us.
But no, we struggled first.
Yeah. We didn't really struggle.
Came back.
They got lucky. How about that?
I like it. Let's go with that.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on the game, Molly? Your not so instant reaction.
I know. 4 days later. And we watched the game twice already. Or I have anyway. That first quarter felt so familiar. Or the first half, really. Felt so familiar. We get down 24-7. Mm-hmm. Was it?
Yeah.
We had a missed field goal. The pick 6, and it just felt like the same old Bucs. And then we just come back, and it was an amazing comeback. What I loved the most about the game was
winning.
Yeah, well, yes. But the pick 6, and I'm not trying to knock on Jameis, but it's just kind of it's not necessarily about Jameis, it's about how the team was before, was that last year a pick 6 would have defined the whole game. Like, it'd all be downhill from there right after the pick 6. And it was often, it kind of flavored the game, and this time it didn't. Like, it was just kind of an asterisk. Like, you almost forget about it towards the end. You're like, oh yeah, we had a pick 6. Committed a pick 6. And it just wasn't a big deal. Tom Brady was able to come back from it. It didn't even shake him. It felt like he just got back on the field and was like, yeah, okay, let's do this again.
Teflon Tom.
Yeah. No
he
kidding.
was just like water off a duck's back.
Yeah. There were so many good things. First of all, Rojo. Now, during the game, Ralph was screaming, like, stop giving it to Rojo. This is like the best game he ever had. And I found out later it's because Ralph benched him in fantasy. And that was the only reason he did not want to go into Rojo. And I'm like, who's T-Bird Yawn? What the hell was the point of an all Buccaneers fantasy team? And you benched the Buccaneer, and then Scotty Miller was the same thing, just crushed it, and
I
benched him.
I haven't really been paying a whole lot of attention to fantasy football this year, and I had actually forgot that I had benched Rojo.
Likely story.
Well, I would have put him in, but we had a
No, you
little
wouldn't have.
busy weekend, so
Right.
I checked it. No, I think I checked it when we got to the bar, and I was like, "Oh crap, I didn't play Rojo. Oh well, too late now." And then here they are; they're just dumping it to him and handing it to him and dumping it. I was like, "What?"
Well, his hands were not great. Like, he ran great, but he had those drops, and so that was a little frustrating. But it is what it is. We knew that about Rojo. That's been Rojo's issue. I mean, it was last year. Todd McNair, running backs coach, talked about it. They worked on it in the off season with him. And so, I mean, I don't really hold it against Rojo at this point. It's just, he is what he is.
Yeah. Well, Vaughn dropped a pass too. It was a few dropped passes in this game. The one that Vaughn was thrown behind him a little bit, but it still bounced off his hands. He's supposed to catch it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Agreed.
Yeah, but yeah, Rojo had two that he just right in his hands, popped right out.
Mike Evans, phenomenal performance. My favorite Mike Evans play, well, there were two, and one was not really a play. The first one was that end zone reception where I swear to God, he jumped, had to be like 6 feet there, like so high. I don't really know how high 6 feet is.
You don't have a clue.
I have no idea. But it was so high, he jumped.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was a great pass by Brady, too.
Yeah. And got that touchdown, got the feet in bounds. So the second favorite play was when he got into a fight with that cornerback and he shoved him.
Yeah, yeah. And then after he shoved him, like everybody was standing around and Mike acted like he was walking away, and then he stepped back at him and did like a fake flinch, like he was going to punch him. The guy jumped back. It was fun.
No, he did get flagged for that one.
Yeah,
and I can't remember. Yeah, and then we ended up going 3 and out, so whatever. I don't know if it was that same play that Jensen actually picked him up and took him away from it.
Yes, that was it.
That was it.
Wait, no.
Which, it's bad when Jensen, of all people, is carrying you away from a fight.
Yes, if Jensen is having to pull you away from a fight, you have got some fight in
But
you.
I love Mike's temper. Yeah. I take no issue with it whatsoever.
No,
he's earned it, if you ask me. Like, if you're like, okay, he's going to get a personal foul penalty, like once every 3 or 4 games, I'm like, I'll take it, given his production, and he kind of earns it. And you like that fire. You don't want somebody who doesn't give a shit.
And he's gotten a lot better with his temperament since the first couple years.
Since that Marshawn Lattimore incident.
Yeah, got suspended.
Yeah, he got suspended for that one, and since then it seems like he's kind of chilled out. But
do you know how many yards he had?
It was over 100. I want to say like 112 in that range. I don't have the
122.
122.
I did play Mike Evans.
Everyone was super worried about that.
Tom Brady.
I know.
Oh, I killed it in points, even though I didn't play Rojo or Scotty Miller. I didn't play Scotty Miller either. What was I thinking? You better play him
this week. We got like nobody else.
Oh yeah, I'm dumping them all back in the lineup. How did they get out of the lineup? I don't know.
Who knows? Okay, we're not here to talk about Ralph's fantasy team.
We are always here to talk about Ralph's fantasy team.
Rojo seemed like he had a lot of success running up the middle. Like, he did really well against that interior defensive line, I felt like. They killed us on the outside.
Which is what we said.
I don't recall saying that. I think you said it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's. But, so that was a little. Who was that on? Is that on the linebackers? I mean, it seemed like Levante was there, but I don't recall seeing Devin White. Except for the fumble recovery in the first half. Yeah,
he didn't have that spectacular of a game. Now, Levante was all over the place. Yeah. He did very good.
Was it Levante? Yeah, Levante and Sean Murphy-Bunting got a flip this week. So Sean Murphy Bunting like flipped a guy over, and then Levante like nails him midair, stops him. I mean, it was they went 3 and out on that one.
We got to start coming up with a name for that because it's happened. We can call it a dunk.
I want to call it an alley-oop because it's like Sean Murphy Bunting comes in there, and then whoever else comes and cleans it up. So,
last time it was JPP. This time it was Levante David.
Exactly.
The alley-oop.
The alley-oop. I think that's right. I don't watch basketball.
yeah, that's right.
About what an alley-oop is. Okay. Somebody cleans it up for you. Let's see. Oh, OJ. Okay, let's talk about OJ.
You really don't like OJ. I mean, as far as like everybody else. I don't
understand the hype. I don't get it.
I know.
He's never played a full season for us. It's his 4th. I looked at it, and the most he's played is 14 games. And especially like a year like this year, 14 games, like that's not going to help us if we go to the playoffs. Where, and then this time we get him 4 games.
Mm-hmm. He's out for the season.
He had a pass that he bobbled again that could have been picked off, should have been against a better defense. And it wasn't this game. I just, his blocking is suspect. Like he just acts like VH3 on special teams. Like he doesn't want to be blocking.
Yeah, he just kind of gets in the way.
Yeah.
He's not a.
There's no effort. And I've seen people say that Bright is our worst blocker, but I just don't.
No. Bright was our best blocker until we got Gronkowski. Now Bright's the second best blocker.
Yeah. So, and I just. Brait is like a touchdown machine. Like, well, he was with Jameis. Him and Jameis had great chemistry, particularly in the red zone. So to me, it's like, do you go with someone who's a sure touchdown or OJ?
Right.
And it's like OJ can't make those 5-yard catches, but he makes a spectacular 20-yard one with a defender's arm up in his face. It's just weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just too. It's kind of like with the kicker. Like, don't you just want someone who's going to get the gimmies, the 5-yard versus the spectacular 20-yard one?
Right.
We lost it, which I'm not saying I wanted him to be injured or off the team. Let me get that clear right now. But we did lose him to an Achilles injury for the season. He's out. And I'm not going to say thankfully, but we are extremely deep at the tight end position.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't necessarily rely on them in the offense.
No.
So
they're like a added bonus.
Yeah. And I hope now with most of our receiving core injured, maybe the tight ends will step in there and help out. We brought up Tanner Hudson. We've got Brait, Gronk.
Yeah, I think we're going to be all right, tight ends.
Yeah.
And I think they will be a little bit more involved.
Yeah, I hope so too. The Los Angeles, okay, and Pewter Report brought up this point, and I think it is a phenomenal point because in our preview, this was what we were worried about with the Chargers was Austin Eckler.
Mm-hmm.
And we knocked him out like immediately. This is 4 games now where we have knocked out their best player.
Michael Thomas.
1, Michael Thomas. Week 2,
CMC. Christian McCaffrey.
Week 3, we didn't knock out Driscoll, which he's not their best player either, but but we got him benched. And then week 4, Austin Eckler, by far the best player. And he was out like immediately. So y'all better wrap your people in bubble wrap because we coming.
Yeah. Our defense is pretty tough in many different ways. We'll cover that in a little bit. The Eckler thing, Pewter Report had said that they felt if Eckler was still in there that we would have lost the game.
I think it would have been a very different game.
Yeah.
I don't know that we would have lost, but
I don't think so. No. Mm-mm.
I think it would have been very different, and they would have been a lot more competitive than they were. God, he was so slippery when he was in there.
Yeah. Eckler's he's a really, really good running back. Just all around good running back.
Ralph doing some cleaning over here.
Stop talking. I just noticed look, and there's a mess on my keyboards over here. Okay.
You're like pulling a Molly. Like I can't have any horizontal surfaces.
I know. I'm getting
ever. So I'm rubbing off on Ralph.
Getting your bad habits. So then they came out. They got up on us pretty quick. They had the big pass. Whitehead got beat in coverage on that huge pass. And it was a really strange play. It was really strange because we had 7 guys.
Was this the first touchdown that they got?
Yes, first touchdown.
And this is where Hubert, can't remember his name, Sherbert, was so dangerous. And that's why we said those bombs. I mean, he will just sit back there and chunk it.
Yep.
And they had some success doing that.
Yeah, that's what we said. They run the ball. They work the outside, the flats, and then they chunk it down the field. And that's pretty much exactly what they did this whole game. But the Whitehead got beat in that one. Like I said, it was a very strange play because we had 7 guys back there in coverage.
What?
Covering 3 receivers.
How does that happen? Just to me, that's inexcusable.
Well, it was very strange because Whitehead, again, this is the same thing that happened with Jamal Dean in, I want to say it was week 1 or week 2. He tracked the ball the whole way. He saw it coming. He was in position to jump up and knock it down. And then he just watched it land right in the guy's hands. Whitehead did the exact same thing. He tracked the ball the whole way. It wasn't like he was lost or confused or anything like that. And then he just turned around and watched it fall right in the hands of the receiver. And I'm like, why didn't you jump up and bat it or at least try or something? I think what happened, watching the game film, is out of the corner of his eyes, he saw Winfield come running over, and he thought Winfield was going to get behind the guy. Mm-mm. And he didn't want to jump up and bat the ball away because he thought Winfield might be in position to get an interception. And he just ended up not making a very good decision there. It's funny because the 2 players that I was really talked up in the offseason, Whitehead and Jamal Dean, are probably our 2 worst defensive players so far this year. They're not bad.
I think it's just a testament to how well Winfield has done.
Yeah, I had nobody had any idea
I
he was
know.
going to be this good.
Gosh, he's so great. Did he have a good game?
He didn't have a bad
I didn't
game.
feel like this was our defense's best showing.
In some ways it was, in some ways it wasn't.
Okay.
Yes. We'll discuss that in a moment.
Okay.
So anyhow, they get up and then they get the pick 6, bam, and then they're up 14, 14-7 at that point, right? Because we had a touchdown. We scored first, right?
I think so. Yeah. That first drive is a beautiful, beautiful drive. We just marched down the field.
Okay.
And it was.
Gosh, I don't even remember that first.
I know. I want to say Cameron Brate scored the first touchdown.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Yeah, so then they get that they get that big touchdown, big pass, like immediate. It was like 2 plays, 2 or 3 plays. And then boom, they were touchdown. And then Brady throws that pick 6. And then they're up 14-7.
And again, it was like a PTSD thing as a Bucs fan because you're like, we've seen this, we've done this song and dance before.
Mm-hmm. And then they had a long drive and scored another touchdown. And they're up 21-7. And that's when you were going, oh my gosh. Mm-hmm.
We're getting blown out by the Chargers.
Is this
a rookie quarterback?
One of those. Yeah. And then they ended up scoring a field goal. It was 24-7.
Mm-hmm.
And then
our saving grace really in that first half was that turnover that Sue forced and Devin White recovered because we got the ball back at like the 6-yard line and just punched it in.
Yeah, that was really, really boneheaded on their part. They should have just kneeled on it. It was weird. 30 seconds left. We had 1 timeout. Mm-hmm. First down, they were backed up on their 6-yard line. Yeah. And they tried to run it up the middle. And Sue was there almost at the handoff.
Yeah.
I mean, he just blew his guy up, and he was there as soon as who was it? Kelly got the ball.
Do you think he's one of our best defensive players this year? I mean, I feel like every game we're talking about him, and he's just making these spectacular plays.
He was one of our best last year. I mean, he's just consistently good. He doesn't make mistakes, and when you need him, he shows up.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, he's had like 2-3 touchdowns for us already. I mean, since last year, since we got him, he scored a safety, right? I want to say he's gotten he's gotten quite a few fumbles. I mean, the guy's been playing great.
Yeah.
He's just so consistent, and so he's just a very good football player. So then we're down 24-7. And then, boom, we march down the field, get that great touchdown. I think that's the one with Mike Evans that you were talking about, where he jumped up like 12 feet in the air and caught the ball. And that was a really, really great throw by Brady. And he just manipulated the pocket great.
Yeah, he had a lot of patience because I think he was getting pressured at that point.
Well, it was starting to close in behind him.
Okay.
And so he just stepped up and stepped to the right, but kept his, throwing position ready. And he saw Mike running in the back and just boop, threw it. It was really beautiful.
And only Mike could catch that. I
Yeah,
mean.
right. Yeah. There was 2 guys right there. They couldn't jump that high for 1. And 2, they couldn't have got it from Mike because he will wrestle that ball from you. Yeah, so then we get it, and we get closer, and then they screwed up in that right before halftime, and then we just punched it in. Boom. Now it's a game, 21-24.
That was before the half or after the half?
It was 24-14 going into the half, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we come out, we score a touchdown, 21-20, or 21-24, and then they score a touchdown, so it was 24-27, all right? And then, or 24-28. Yeah, they score a touchdown, 24-28. Then we come, we score a touchdown, it's 31-28. It was just a great, wait, I got it backwards. 24. Anyhow, it was some back and forth there for a while. 24. Yeah, it was 24-21 them at the third quarter. Start of the third quarter. Into the third quarter. Yeah, at the end of the half, it was 24-14 in their favor. Mm-hmm. Then we closed it into 21-24, and then we got 27-24, 28-24. Then they got 31-28, and then we popped up with a 35-31, and then we ended the score at 38-31. It was really good. We played good football. It was good football. We didn't make a lot of mistakes. That's what I like to see. And we were just very patient. We didn't get freaked out, like you said, with the pick six. We didn't get freaked out that we were 3 scores behind. We just kept trugging and kept trugging. What do they say? Persistence will beat talent any day.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. Not that we aren't more talented too, but we were definitely persistent.
Yeah. And their pass rush was just like non-existent. I was so worried about it coming into this week because they just destroyed was it the Broncos?
Mm-hmm. And gave Kansas City a hard time.
Yeah. That was Kansas City. And I mean, we gave up 0 sacks.
Yeah. It's even better than that. I'll tell you about what I saw on game film here in a minute. Okay. But yes, our offensive line was the outstanding unit of this game by far. The defense did a really good job, I thought. They gave up some big plays, but that's what the Chargers do. They just chunk the ball down the field. We did get that interception at the end that sealed the deal. Because they were only they were only a touchdown behind us. Yeah. And had time on the clock.
Right. Yeah.
And who was it?
Carlton
Davis. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it really wasn't anything that we did. I don't know what Sherbert was thinking. it was either the receiver ran the wrong route or he threw the bad pass, but it wasn't anything we did. But we'll take it.
I don't know. I mean, Carlton had to catch the ball.
Yeah, right. He didn't drop it.
There's
that. So it was a good game, and it was definitely very emotional at the beginning because everybody was like, oh, no. And, we're all thinking this. We're all thinking.
Bucs fans are conditioned to think that. And
It's been a decade.
This is why a culture change is so important, because that's part of the culture that's like baked in. And so Bucs fans everywhere, like, it's PTSD.
Ecstatic.
Yeah. Just scared, stuff like that happens. And you're like, here we go again. And, you have Tom Brady come in. And I mean, if you think about Tom Brady's legacy, all you think about is the good stuff, the 6 Super Bowl rings, the, winning seasons, the division championships, all that. But you don't think about, not every game was a blowout in New England's favor. They lost to teams like the Browns or Miami, like occasionally. It wasn't, and Tom Brady played some ugly games. And so you don't think about that when you think about, the GOAT, that he's like the best that's ever been. But there are those games there. And so just because you're playing a game like that, it doesn't mean that you're down and out.
Right. Yes. And as long as, Brady just keeps his head on his shoulders and just keeps.
And that's what makes
playing
him the
consistent.
GOAT.
Yeah. Because
he can do that.
Yes. And now it seems like our whole team has kind of caught that. Like you said, we didn't get down and despondent about being down by 3 scores real dang quick.
Yeah. And that's what Scotty Miller said after the game. He said you just kind of trust him and you try to do as much as you can, do your part. And
because, the little phrase, any given Sunday. The Miami Dolphins can beat the Patriots at their prime any given Sunday. You never know what's going to happen. You never know how the ball's going to bounce, cookies are going to crumble, all that good stuff. You think of it is you just have to keep your head down and keep grinding, keep pounding the rock. And that's exactly what we did. We did not get out of our game plan. We didn't panic. We didn't start making a lot of stupid mistakes. And we ended up coming back and stomping them.
Such a good game.
It was a good game. The parts I remember.
And I'm so glad that we watched them beforehand, because we would have been totally surprised.
Yeah. We weren't that shocked when they started coming out scoring.
Throwing the bombs. It was not a huge shock. So.
Yeah. All right. So with the game film, not going to cover a whole lot in it because we could sit here all day with this, but the offensive line played outstanding. By far, the worst player was Kappa. Okay. And he didn't play that bad. He had a couple of mistakes. There was one time he was blocking a guy, and he looks over and he sees Tristan Wirfs blocking 97 Bosa, and for some reason he decides to go over and help Tristan Wirfs. So he releases his guy, and he goes over and he helps Wirfs block this guy, or at least he thought he was helping him. And so he pushes Bosa. Bosa ends up pushing Wirfs and knocking Wirfs down. And so 97 and the guy that Kappa was originally blocking ended up running right to Tom Brady, and he had to throw it away. And I was like, what are you thinking there, Kappa? You just let both guys go.
Yeah.
It was fun. But, little small things like that. But then the thing about Brady, he just doesn't get caught. We had no sacks, right?
Yeah. So per Greg Allman, the Bucs sack rate in 2020 is 3.1% of dropbacks. And last year it was 6.9%.
Yeah.
In 2018 it was 6.2%. Same in 2017.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to retweet your video on the offensive line. What you think about Tom Brady's chances, how he's going to make the offensive line better. I'm going to tweet that back out there because we got receipts, y'all.
Yeah, don't tweet the stuff where we were wrong. Let's just
we're going to bury that. We'll make that private on YouTube.
What are you talking about? We ain't never been wrong. We don't have any wrong videos out there, do we? No, he helps out so much, but you can also see that the offensive line is getting a lot of confidence because they don't have to worry about him not being in position. They know where he's going to be standing, and they just block that spot.
I think there's also a lot of pressure. Like, you don't want to be the one that gets Tom Brady killed.
Yeah, exactly. Donovan Smith played a great game. He had I think, one instance where he got beat, and that was just for a pressure, and Tom Brady got rid of it. That's what happens when these guys get beat. Tom Brady just throws the ball. Jensen played Jensen. He was.
Oh yeah, he had one play where he's like down on his knees, and there were a bunch of Chargers around him, and he got up. Like I think some Bucs players stepped in and pulled him out or something like that, but he got out and he was just beat red like an angry ginger. Like he was so.
He's always an
hopping mad.
As soon as he gets on that football field, man, he's just out there wanting to rip arms and legs off.
I love it.
Yeah, he had quite a few good hits and blocks in this game. Marpet played good. Nothing to complain about there. But Tristan Wirfs, wow. I mean, just wow. I have never seen an offensive lineman dominate somebody like that. And
it's Joey Bosa.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He had 3 pancakes on him.
That has to be so demoralizing for Bosa too. Like you got beat by a rookie.
Well, I think Tristan Wirfs not your regular rookie. I mean, he just seems to be, man, he's really good.
There was an athletic beat writer for the Chargers who tweeted and said he has never seen anybody handle Bosa the way that Tristan Wirfs did. Yeah, he did. I mean, it was all game. Not once did Bosa get the best of that.
Tristan
Is just
Wirfs.
Incredible because even for a rookie lineman, like they always talk about how offensive linemen have such a learning curve coming into the league. I mean, it's just incredible that, I mean, he's got he's handled Cam Jordan, Bradley Chubb, Brian Burns, right? And now Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Or Joey, but which Bosa is it? I don't know.
I just keep saying Bosa.
I know.
He didn't just handle Bosa. He just beat the crap out of Bosa. He really did. I mean, he just dominated him. I said,
I know that you don't have a whole lot of time, but I wish that you would do like a highlight video of this game for Tristan Wirfs.
I'm thinking about it.
You should.
Yeah, well, I just don't have time this week for sure with Thursday's game coming up. But yeah, he pancaked Bosa 3 times. I have never seen that happen before. I mean, it's rare to get a pancake. You're talking. You're lucky if you get one.
You got to out leverage the guy next to you, and he physically is matched to you.
A pancake for an offensive lineman is the equivalent of an interception or a sack on the defense. Because you're totally taking the player out.
Yeah. And their best pass rusher, like, get out of here.
Yeah, it was weird. But man, Bosa kept trying. Normally what'll happen is when you're getting dominated like that, they'll switch sides.
Yeah.
And Bosa will go up against Donovan Smith. But no, he was like, man, I'm determined to beat this guy
he was
once.
probably pissed. He wanted some retribution.
No,
he won't get it for another 4 years.
Wirfs actually threw him one time.
What?
Yeah, he was blocking him, and the runner ran by, and Bosa went to go for the runner, so Bosa like grabbed him and just flung him. And Bosa flew like 5 feet and landed right on his face. Bam! He was just mauling him.
Oh my gosh!
Mauling him. It was great. And here's the thing that's awesome about this is our running backs are not having to block at all.
Oh, thank God!
Yeah, I think I saw a running back block one time because normally what they'll do is they'll stand there, see if anybody's coming through the line, and then they'll go out for a check down pass. And they're constantly just like, okay, nobody's here. I'm going to go for a check down. Constantly. Like I said, I think I saw a running back have to block one time.
That's crazy.
It is.
It's awesome.
Insane. Yeah,
thank God, because they were a huge liability last year.
Yeah. So, props to the offensive line. They are the outstanding unit of this week. And Tristan Wirfs should get the game ball.
Well, that begs the question, why were they blocking last year?
The running backs?
Yeah. I mean, did they do kind of a schematic change where they've just decided this year that they're not going to have them do that?
No, they're doing the same. It's the same stuff. Everything's the exact same.
Really?
Yeah.
So why are they not blocking this year?
Because the the offensive line isn't letting guys through. If you've noticed, even when our running game.
So they kind of sit there, and then if they don't have anybody to block, they go out for the check down, right?
Right.
Okay.
If there's nobody coming through the line, they'll pick a hole and go through and go for a check down. And a lot of times it's for blitzing, if there's blitzers coming in and all that. But, Tom Brady just gets the ball out so quick that, the running backs just don't have to do any blocking. It's great. It's awesome. On the other side of the ball, I really want to see our defensive line get more push. I
thought Vita was getting some pressure. I saw him quite a few times getting near Herbert.
Yeah, but they're just not getting what I want to see. I mean, they're doing great. Don't get me wrong, especially in the run game again.
You just want more flashy plays.
I do. But they're still doing this, dropping JPP and Barrett back into coverage. They dropped them both back, not necessarily both at the same time, but sometimes JPP, sometimes Shaquille Barrett, sometimes both of them, 11 times. That was off of, let me see, they did it 11 times in 25 pass attempts. That's how many pass attempts Herbert had. Yeah, so almost half. It's like upwards of 40%. And I'm just like, I understand what Todd Bowles is doing. I mean, he's bringing all kinds of pressure from different directions and all that good stuff. But those are our two best pass rushers.
Yeah.
And it just seems like, but still, we are tied for what, third for sacks? Let me see. What is? Yes, third in sacks. We have 14 sacks.
Wow.
Yes. We're tied with the Washington, whatever. What are they called again? The football team?
They're a football team.
The football team? Yes. Here are our numbers on defense. We are first in the rush yards per carry. Take a guess what we're allowing yards per carry.
2.9.
Close. 2.7.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. We're second in total yards allowed rushing, 257 in 4 games.
What? That's crazy.
That is crazy. First place is the Pittsburgh Steelers with 162. So they're really shutting guys down.
Wow.
The longest rush we have allowed so far, you want to take a guess?
Trying to think who it was that we faced. Oh, Kamara. Okay, I'm going to go with 39 yards.
14 yards. That's the longest rush we've allowed this year. Yeah, so our run defense is ranked way up there. We're first or second. Now, I've been hearing everybody, I've been reading on articles, and they're talking about us blitzing. Like we are a huge blitzing team, and we're even listed as one of the most highest blitzing teams in the league at 41.4% of the time. That's wrong. That's wrong. We don't blitz that much. It looks like we blitz that much, but we move so many guys at the snap of the ball that usually only 4 guys rush.
We're so tricky.
Yeah, it looks like there's more guys rushing, but there's usually only 4 guys rushing. There's no way we're doing it 41.4% of the time. Now, I'm not keeping track of it in my spreadsheet, but I can guarantee you it's not. I mean, it's like I said, for 40% of the time, we've got Shaq Barrett or JPP or somebody dropping back into coverage.
How common is that? Because we watched the Bears and I saw Khalil Mack back there.
It's more common throughout the league than it used to be for sure, especially when you got these real athletic linebackers or defensive ends that can drop back into coverage.
Yeah.
But it's not that. I mean, you have to have a very complex defense to do it. And most teams are still running, your basic 4-3 or 3-4. We have a probably the most complex defense in the league, I would say. And it's working for us. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're getting the sacks. It's just that Shaq Barrett, JPP aren't getting them.
Yeah.
And, we're getting interceptions. We are tied for third in the league for most interceptions. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so our defense is killing it. Our secondary, surprisingly, on the stat sheet isn't as good as far as yards allowed per pass and
Right.
pass per game. And completion percentage, we're at 70%. We're allowing 70%. I'm like, did not realize that. But a lot of it's because, we're letting, at the ends of games, we're letting guys, march down the field with these little short dink-and-dunk passes. But yeah, really the game film, Wirfs was the most standout player. And our defense played like they were angry. I mean, we were definitely the most physical team on both sides of the ball, except for special teams. And that's something I want to talk about. If I would have to say we need any improvement, it's our special teams, especially our kick returns or punt returns too, our return game. We're just not getting those blocks, man. And there was one where their guys were spread out, and if he would have gotten just one block, he could have taken off. And we're just not getting the blocks in there. And that's something that I think it's kind of endemic with like the Cutter, this Air Coryell offense and mindset is, it's the clipboard carriers. They're more into this is great on paper. You need the guys that are, they believe in endurance and toughness. And I think we got that on the defense a bit, but, I worry about it on the rest of the team. As far as a culture thing, I think we rely a lot on skill and scheme, not so much on toughness, blocking. Although our run blocking was a lot better. We were opening up some holes. Yeah, it's funny. Most of the notes I took for this was about Wirfs. Just like almost every play, I'm like, man, he's just beating the crap out of Bosa. And it looked like, I was trying to give Bosa some excuses, and I was like, well, the field was wet, and Bosa's he's more of a wraparound guy. He's got that speed to the outside.
Yeah.
And Wirfs would just let him go, start to move outside, and then he would just crush him. And so, I was thinking maybe he couldn't get good traction. But then again, he's like the only one slipping.
Yeah, like nobody else was having that issue.
So if he's the only one slipping, it's probably because Wirfs is just pushing on him so hard that he's
just destroying him.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of Rojo. Oh, yes. Rojo's ball security. Really good. I saw quite a few instances.
Yeah, I noticed one really during the game where it's that run up the middle. So, I mean, you've got 4 or 5 guys on you and your teammates there too. And I saw, he actually got through these guys and he was dragging somebody with him, I think. And it seemed like he felt like the ball was slipping, and you could see his other hand go in there to secure it, and he managed to pick up 2 or 3 yards after that. Yeah. Guys were trying to rip the ball out, and he's got great ball security. I don't even, if he plays like he did against the Chargers for the rest of the season, can't catch the dang ball, but runs it, like he did, I'm totally fine with that. Yeah. Like, cool. Let's get him in there. Yeah. Ralph, start him on your fantasy team. But you know what's going to happen? I'm going to start him and he's not going to do crap. I know. And Vaughn then we'll all blame you. I certainly will. Yeah, so the Things I Found Interesting videos are out on YouTube. It's a 2-part series. I'm chopping them up because I was requested for that, and then I asked everybody if that's what they prefer, and overwhelmingly responses were yes. So that's what we're doing. Going to keep them up to 10 minutes, right around 10 minutes. So there's 2 10-minute videos on things I found interesting in this game. So good stuff out there. A lot of offensive line play. So go check that out. So let's move on to Chicago. All right. What do you think, Molly? Well, let me go over some news really quick. I just have a few things. Per Bucs communication, so Tom Brady was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week, which this is, of course, the first time he has been named in the NFC. In the AFC, he won this 30 times, the Player of the Week. I know, isn't that crazy? Holy crap. Yeah. That's per Greg Allman. And it's a record, obviously.
Wow.
Yeah. He was also named the FedEx Air Player of the Week, which that's the 11th time he's been named that.
Come on, FedEx. You need to step it up. Only 11 times.
His 5 touchdown passes matched a single game team record. And he led us to a 3-1 record, which this is the first time since 2011. And he also became the NFL's all-time regular season wins leader.
2011. It was almost a decade ago, y'all.
What?
And that was the demise of the Buccaneers. Mm-hmm. That was the year, and it was against Chicago. Oh, no.
Chicago.
We went to London to play Chicago.
Chicago freaks me out because we had that game against them, and then the last time we played against them a couple years ago with Cutter. Remember that Justin Evans game where he just played like absolute garbage?
Oh, man, that was the worst game I've ever seen a player have. He had no idea what he was doing out on the field, and we ended up getting trounced.
That was Mike
Trubisky.
Yeah, that was Trubisky. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think he threw 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, thank God he got yes, he did. Thank God he got benched before that. Our game, he got benched week 3.
Do you remember speaking of really crappy performances by the Buccaneers, you remember that Baltimore Ravens game where they scored, I want to say 5 touchdowns in the first half against us? Oh, that was a miserable game there. Ain't going to see none of those again. So.
No, I don't think so either.
No, definitely not with this team, that's for sure, at least for the next couple of years. I think we're good. What other news you got?
Per Greg Allman, we are lining up potential practice squad guys. We've got workouts and testing. With workout/testing of tight end Cody McElroy, who he was a Buccaneer, wide receiver Travis Johnson, former Gators running back Jordan Scarlett, wide receiver Johnny Dixon, and ex-Bears wide receiver / running back Taquan Mazzell, and tight end Charles Scarf.
Well, don't know any of those people.
I don't either, but we're bringing them in. So Greg says they can't work out until Monday or Tuesday, but we shall see. So that's it for news. Oh, wait, I did have news from yesterday. So, Kenyon Barner, running back, made his debut with the Buccaneers on Sunday against the Chargers. He got knocked out, like, immediately. Number 44.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
During the game, left the game. And now he's been suspended for 4 games for testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs. So...
And also, if you don't follow our daily news, well, I don't know if they're daily, but we put out little 10-minute videos on YouTube trying to cover the news of the day. The NFL did set out more COVID guidelines, and they're kind of getting pissy with everybody.
They sure are.
Today, the Tennessee Titans had another player.
Yeah.
The Raiders have had somebody.
Well, in the Tennessee, they had one person that they put on the COVID list, and then there's another one that tested positive, but they're retesting just to make sure that he's actually positive. So they haven't put him on the list yet. We don't know who it is either.
So there's 3 teams that have players now.
Yeah, and
tested positive.
The league put out stricter protocols. Mm-hmm. Which include if you are like willfully neglecting the rules and your team has an outbreak, then they could penalize you potentially with a forfeiture of games if you have to miss a game, or the change of draft picks.
Yes. And they're investigating, I think it's Tennessee. Some players got together apparently off. They weren't supposed to because they were in lockdown.
Right.
The facilities were closed, and they got together at a high school. So the NFL is looking into that, see if they're going to do anything about it.
I wonder if those rules are retroactive, like the punishments.
Yeah,
I wonder if they're going to penalize Tennessee now.
Right.
Like the new rules, they ban that stuff, which I had wondered yesterday. I'm like, what does this mean? The rule was like, no team activities outside of the facility. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I guess it's that workout that they participated in.
Oh, that's like what when you were talking about that yesterday outside the team facilities, we were thinking like in the parking lot. Because
you were. I was not thinking that. I was thinking like,
I was like, oh, can't have barbecues in the parking lot?
Yeah, well, I was like, maybe they're having like work dinners or something. That's my mind goes straight to that.
Straight to dinner. What is it with you and food, man?
All
right.
So we'll see with the COVID stuff. There was another team. Oh, you said the Raiders.
The Raiders is somebody else. I can't remember who it is. The thing I'm worried about is that they're going to over panic about this crap and end up canceling the season or something. People are talking about extending it to 18 weeks and letting teams play after that, which is probably what they'll end up doing. I just hope they just, come on. Guys are getting it, but guys aren't getting sick.
Yeah.
It's just,
Oh, it was somebody on the Patriots. It was like a big name player.
Well, Cam did.
No, it wasn't Camp. Yeah, it was somebody on the defense.
Gilmore. The cornerback.
Yeah, the cornerback. McCourty?
No. He won he won Defensive Player of the Year last year.
I don't know.
Stephen Gilmore.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
To the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
They are 3-1, and apparently they're the worst 3-1 team ever.
I would have to agree with that, baby.
They've beat Detroit,
Boo.
the Giants,
Boo.
Atlanta,
Boo.
And they lost last week to Indianapolis.
Yeah, who are also a 3-1 team.
Right.
Yeah.
God, Philip, we watched the Indianapolis game because Nick Foles got benched in the fourth quarter of week 3 against Atlanta.
You mean Trubisky?
I mean, yeah. Trubisky. Foles came in for Trubisky.
Mm-hmm.
Week 3.
Again, Knowles vulturing somebody's quarterback job.
I know. He's like a curse.
That's what he does. Yeah,
he's like
the
a
Ryan
Fitzpatrick. Yeah.
Yes. Except you don't get hurt. You just play crappy.
Yeah.
And get benched.
Which is worse. I'd rather get hurt, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. So he comes in and he plays typical Nick Foles football. Uninspiring.
Against Indianapolis.
Yeah.
How old did Phillip Rivers look?
Oh gosh, he looks old.
He tried to scramble a few times, and that was the slowest scramble I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's like he couldn't get his legs to go really far apart, so they were just.
It was weird. Y'all watch that game.
He was kind of hunched over. Yeah, he does. He looks old.
So slow.
Yeah, he looks how everybody wishes Tom Brady looked.
Like at that point, just take the sack because you preserve your dignity, kind of. And he didn't get no further.
He didn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
he ran. His little feet were just a moving, but he didn't go anywhere.
It was weird.
Yeah.
That game was super boring.
Very boring.
We actually only watched a half of it.
The two teams are very vanilla. Nothing special out of either one of them. It looks like to me Chicago is really weak up the middle with the run game. So hopefully Ronald Jones will be able to run it right down the middle, get me a bunch of fantasy football points. But more importantly, get us a win. I don't see any threat on this team at all.
I don't either. Even Khalil Mack, I was like, yeah.
But now with Tristan Wirfs, the way he handled Bosa, I mean, Khalil Mack's a totally different beast. He's got
like
a lot
the best
more moves.
in the league, right?
Say Barrett's the best in the league, but Mack's got a monster bull rush, and he could beat you with strength. So that's going to be the most interesting matchup to me, is watching those two guys go at it. But, the receiver, what is it, Allen Robinson?
Yeah, he's their number one. I've got the depth chart up over here. Javen Wims.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Wims.
Chicago hasn't had any receivers in so long. They just can't get receivers. Their thing is run the ball. And who's it? Tariq Cohen's out.
Do they even have him anymore?
Yeah, he's hurt.
He's
Howard's
on
the
IR.
one that went to, where's he at, Baltimore now or someplace? Who is their running back now?
David Montgomery.
Montgomery, that's right. Yeah, he's all right. But yeah, I mean, nothing. I don't see us having a problem, and these are the scary games, where you go in expecting to just beat up on a team. I mean, we are going to Chicago.
Yeah.
It's a short week. Of course, they're on a short week too, but they don't have to leave the house.
And our injuries situation is just a nightmare.
Yeah, theirs isn't that bad. Right?
No. Well, let's go over the injury report real quick. We have Chris Godwin, who's out with a hamstring. LaShawn McCoy with an ankle injury. He is also out. And Justin Watson is out with a chest injury. Leonard Fournette has not participated in practice all week. He's doubtful.
Yeah, he's not going to play.
Mike Evans, he didn't participate. He's questionable, but per JC Cornell, he did travel with the team. So looking good.
He's going to play.
Yeah. I think so too. Scotty Miller was limited. He's also questionable.
He better play.
I know. William Golston has a neck injury. He was a full participant. Rob Gronkowski has a shoulder injury. He was a full participant. JPP has a knee injury. He didn't practice. I think he was limited Monday. Tuesday, he did not practice. And then Wednesday, he was a full participant. But I think the Tuesday holding out of practice was just his regular day off. So I don't think it was really indicative of the injury. And then Sue didn't practice today. But again, he also usually gets a day off a week. So, and that's not injury related. So that's what that is. So our wide receiver core is a mess.
Yeah, that's funny how this happens every year when we got a deep position group.
Yeah.
By the middle of the season, we're like, it's almost depleted.
How did they all get hurt?
Yeah. So, we're hurt a little bit, but I don't see us.
I mean, if we have Mike and Scotty, and then again, you've got Gronk, who is a good pass catching tight end, receiving tight end. I mean, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
We have so many weapons. It's just.
And our defense is so good. I mean, I ain't worried about their offense at all.
I know.
At all.
I know.
I mean, they'll be lucky to score 14 points on us. 17.
Yeah, their games have not been that high scoring at all.
Yeah, I mean, we're holding teams. I think we're like third in the league in points scored per game. Our defense is allowing at like 21, 23, something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's really low.
The Bears, here's their injury report. Safety Deion Bush has a hamstring injury. He is out. He's the only player that's out. Safety Sherrick McManus has a hamstring injury. He did not participate Wednesday, and he's doubtful. Wide receiver Darnell Mooney has a shoulder injury. He was a full participant Wednesday and is questionable. The rest of the guys, defensive tackle Akeem Hicks, Khalil Mack, tackle Bobby Massey, and inside linebacker Josh Woods. They were all full participants on Wednesday, so it's not an issue.
It sounded like you said awful participants.
That too. They were. You are correct, sir.
All right, so what do you got for your predictions? What are you saying? How do we do in our predictions last week?
Oh, okay. I do have those right here. So my prediction was 23-19 Bucs, and yours was 28-24 Bucs. The actual was 38-31. So we lowballed it. Actually, you were closer. You are correct.
So what do you think is going to happen with the Bears? Give me your prediction.
It is so hard to make I feel like I don't think that they're a good team. But at the same time, you're like, is this going to be again one of those you get surprised?
I mean, I don't think they're a bad team, but they're just not
together.
Nothing special.
I will say I think that they have an advantage because Chuck Pagano is their defensive coordinator, who, of course, was the coach at Indianapolis when BA came in and was the offensive coordinator. So he knows BA's offense.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's kind of a big liability to me.
Yeah.
I do think that BA is smarter than that and will throw some stuff in there.
I don't know, man. He doesn't seem to change things a whole lot. It's like every week it's the same stuff. I do wish we were more versatile. It's one complaint I have about the offense. We're doing the same stuff we did last year, the same stuff we've done all games. You know, it's rare if we put in the tricky plays. I like tricky plays. Everybody likes tricky plays.
They're fun.
That's what makes Kansas City so fun.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you never know what they're going to do. The same thing with New England. You know, New England had 4 or 5 tricky plays a game.
The Saints do that too.
Yeah, and you know it's fun. So I think I think BA is going to do the same thing he always does and just say, well, Pagano's going to have to beat him. That's the thing, though. It's hard to beat this offense if everything's working right. So
yeah.
What do you got? What's your predictions?
Okay, I think, of course, the Buccaneers are going to take this one. And I will say, I'm going to say 31.
That's what I was going to say.
To 19. I do think it's going to be
that close,
blowout.
Huh? Yeah, I was going to go 31-14. But I'll say 30. I'll say, since you said 31, I'll go. Yeah, screw it. 30. What did I say? 31-14.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm sticking with.
All right, so a 5-point difference.
Yep. There we go. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for us. We will see y'all tomorrow night. There's a game on. It is the Buccaneers at the Chicago Bears at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is that on the NFL Network, ESPN? We know it's on NFL Network.
I have no idea.
Oh, well. Check your listing, see where it's at. We do
Google
not have
it.
that information. Yeah. Use Google for a change, guys. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us. Till next time.
Go Bucs.